Hi everyone, and welcome to the 121st episode of Kingdom Hearts Union. I'm your host Brandon, and I'm here with Churro!
Hi guys.
How's it going, man?
I'm exhausted. I could use a vacation.
Oh man, it's coming soon though. It's coming soon.
3 weeks.
Oh man, can't wait. Yeah, so it's getting toasty here in Japan. I'm not happy about that.
It's starting to warm up here, so
yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, definitely. But something I am happy about is I am currently, as we speak right now, my PS4 is in rest mode. I don't know about how your PS4 is doing, but mine's in rest mode because I am at the precipice of completing Persona 5. It has been a long journey for me, longer than usual now that I have a teaching job here in Japan. But I am almost done with a Persona game. And that is a great feeling. It's definitely ramping up.
I'm actually enjoying Persona 5. It's actually my quote unquote second, but this would be my first time actually getting as far as I did. So
yeah.
So I'm actually enjoying it. It's very well done, and I'm happy to say I'm addicted to it. So.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Finally, a Persona game has gotten you.
Yes. What have I been missing this entire time?
I know. So yeah, I would say my time tested advice for people coming to the first time to a Persona game is just stick it out longer than you think you need to, and eventually it'll get you. Because Persona games are notorious for having kind of slow openings. So, but if you can get past that, once it gets going, and you'll like it.
I felt that way too in the opening segments of the game, but then once it finally opened up for me, you could say that this game has taken my heart.
There you go. I guess you could also say the same kind of thing for Kingdom Hearts in a way. For Kingdom Hearts 1 to some extent, like I could see a lot of people like getting to the Destiny Island segment and being kind of bored by it, like because it's it's really relaxed. It's a really relaxed way to start a game, and like definitely you hear all the time about Kingdom Hearts 2's opening, like the 6-hour tutorial as they call it with Roxas. Like, so I can.
Oh my god, that was such a pain to get through when I started up 1.5, 2.5. So it's like, I'm like, oh my god, I got to do this again.
Exactly. So. Like I can definitely understand, when it comes to Persona, because Persona, at least like Persona 4, for example, that's like a solid 1 to 2 hour opening where a lot of nothing happens, and Persona 5 they try to remedy it by having like a really action packed like first 20 minutes, and it's real good the first like 20 minutes of the game, but after that like first 20 minutes-ish, like it really takes a nosedive in terms of like actioniness. not necessarily in like quality. It's still good, but it's definitely like more of a low point in the like intensity of the story, and it sort of stays there for like a solid maybe 2 hours, and then like, oh holy crap, something crazy just happened, and then okay, now the story gets going.
Well, hopefully Kingdom Hearts 3 will kind of have that. It's like, we don't have that 6-hour, tutorial.
Yeah,
It'll be more like,
won't. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely going to be interesting. It's very at the very least it's going to have an experimental opening from a Kingdom Hearts standpoint.
Especially when you played 0.2 and saw the ending and the secret ending, and
exactly.
You know how it's going to begin, so it's like, hopefully we don't have to go through that again.
They're going to start there? Wow. Like that's new. I still hold down deep in my heart of hearts, I think I'm suspicious of Nomura. I don't think it's going to start there like 110%. It's going to start like right there. I think what'll probably happen is that there's probably going to be some sort of like short prologue section. It may not be related to what Sora's doing, but it might be, just follow me here, it might be like Xehanort, young Master Xehanort and young Master Ericus doing their little chess game. It might be like that scene, a little bit of that time frame like playing out. There might be like some of that, and then the stuff they talked about in 0.2. That's my guess, is that it's not going to 100% start like right where it says they were going to start in 0.2. Like they might have like a little bit of a prologue and then they'll get into it. That's my guess. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, for you new folks, Kingdom Hearts Union is part of the podcast series called Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts Union and is presented by the Gaming Union Network. We release every Tuesday, rotating each week with Final Fantasy Union, and we come out on the iTunes Store, KingdomHeartsUnion.com, and
Kingdom Hearts Ultimania's Twitter, which is at KHUltimania, and UltimateWeapon.com's Twitter, which is at UltimateWeapon.com.
All right, so we have a 2-segment show today. Our first segment is a rumor segment, or more like a rumor busting segment.
There's no news, so why not have some rumors?
Yeah, there we go. We're being like everybody else, guys. We're going to talk about the rumors that aren't real. Oh, aren't you glad I didn't say banana? Anyway, second segment is the question segment, where we will I'll venture to spend the most of this episode on. So, yeah, I'll do my best. Anyway, in the way of announcements, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/FFKHUnion. Just pledge $1 and get access to a special podcast called Please Be Excited. Our Patreon executive producers for this episode are as follows. We've got Barry Norton, who is at Nortron0. We have Christian Burge, Lewis James, Satria Jaja Zudharma, who is at Satria625 Rubin. We have Tyson Wildman, who is at Ty Wildman1. William Trengrove, who is at Varnish the Azure. Chris Morales. Brian McArdle, who is at Darth Brain 92. Dustiv Haviv, who is at DustyVish770. Eric Decker, who is at Choco Taco. Harley Crawley, who is at Dark ZT Okami. Jonathan Gonzalez, who is at Oh It's Just Johnny. Josh McNabb, who is at J2K9. And Churro, if you can take these last ones.
We got Michael Graham, Thorin Bolin at Massacre23, Zach Duranto at ZDurano58, Alex Troutman at Akira Namejin, Billy Jackson at _Billy Jackson, Darren Matthews at Doomster73, Jason Rivera at Neo Arcadiac, Joseph Robertson at Pokemon Trainer J, Julio Carrillo at Dead Demon 225, Keith Field at The Mighty Keith, Mario Herker, Mike Shirley Donnelly at Curious Quail, Muhammad Quaim, Nico Gonzalez at Nick_Knack95, Perry Ramstad, Rachel Casterton at Orba Yun Ray, Vita Nitas at V_Tron5000, Zach Porter at Porter Paradox, and Zelda Clone at Apes Type Novels.
And be a part of the show. Send us your questions to khuquestions@gmail.com. So if you guys have any burning questions, anything you guys want us to answer or talk about on the show, please send us that in the form of a question to khuquestions@gmail.com. All right, for our first segment, the rumor segment. Yay, I guess.
Yay.
It's a very tepid yay.
So I guess it's that time again, where we're like 3 weeks away from like E3, and that's when everybody flies off the handle with all the rumors coming out.
Yep. Not only is it, a couple weeks before E3, but it's also in the middle of a really, really bad news drought for Kingdom Hearts. So I guess it's that time of year, Churro. It's the most wonderful time of the news cycle.
Considering that I've been dealing with this for 15 years, so it's like, it's another year. Hey, I'm getting too old for this stuff.
The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Rumors come out before E3, and they're usually garbage, unless they're corroborated by, many sources, which this one most assuredly isn't. So anyway, without further ado, there was a rumor going around the Twitterverse and some websites and every YouTuber you can imagine that covers Kingdom Hearts stuff. Kingdom Hearts 3 is having content removed so it can hit a 2018 release date. Oh no! Say it ain't so, Churro. Cut content in a video game?
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses. Oh my goodness. Are they going to release are they gonna release Kingdom Hearts 3 in an incomplete state? Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, that's a travesty waiting to happen.
Woe is me. All so they can release it in 2018. My goodness. Well, so that's the base, the long and short of the rumor. Some other aspects of it is that like maybe the Osaka team is having some difficulties with moving to next gen and or current gen, publishing a console game and doing all these pretty graphics. They haven't gotten to many of the worlds yet, and if this is sounding familiar to you, well, Nomura literally said some of this stuff in January in an interview, and that's not a rumor.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the long and the short of the rumor. It came from some guy on Twitter. He runs some sort of like Spanish anime site. We can't say whether or not he's credible. He claims his source is some people or some person within the development team in Osaka. That is impossible to corroborate. No one else is saying anything like this. And usually, he's not going to be the only insider. Let me just say that. He's not the only insider. He's not the only, if he is an insider, he's not the only insider. And if usually when someone is an insider and gets an inside scoop, he's not the only one who got that scoop. And usually, there'll be press people coming out of the woodwork to corroborate, this as being true. A great example was before the PlayStation Pro was announced. But before, when it was the PS4.5, some guy on Kotaku, said that, I heard from some devs at GDC that Sony is preparing a mid-generation update of the PlayStation 4. And then, so you got Kotaku saying that, and then Eurogamer independently says, we've also talked to some of our contacts, and they've also confirmed the same thing. And then, you got Polygon, hey, just so y'all know, we were talking to some of our contacts, and they also confirmed what Eurogamer and Kotaku said. When you get a rumor like that, where there's many credible sources that are corroborating the rumor, then okay, I'm willing to believe that. But when you've got like one source, and it's really hard to believe what they're saying. So yeah, that's where it came from. Came from some guy who runs a Japanese or some Spanish anime. Maybe video game website. I didn't look into it too much. I just saw the website and saw there was some stuff about Chunibyo, which is like some anime series. By the way, this is a tangent. Chunibyo, it means middle second syndrome. So middle second syndrome, and it means like chu as in chugakko, middle school. Ni as in ninensei, which is like second year student, and byo as in syndrome. So this is like middle school second year syndrome, or literally it's like 8th grade syndrome. And this is like something that it's basically the student's adolescent or emo phase where everything is like terrible. I don't know. I can just say from experience, being a Chugakko sensei, I'm a teacher at a junior high school. It's real. Chunibyo is real, is a thing. In our school we have 2 different ninensei classes. So two different classes. There's ni no ichi and ni no ni. So second year class 1 and second year class 2. And one class is really happy and excited and always happy to do anything for us, and the other class is like, oh my god, the world is ending. And they will not, they are completely unresponsive to any sort of contact. They are like, they look like like the world is ending. So I don't know. Chunibyo is a real thing. Anyway, this rumor is not. But anyway, so now I want to get to the segment where Churro and I discuss why this rumor is not that important. Churro, can you tell me, at least give me one good reason why this rumor is not important?
Because, I mean, having content removed is a totally natural thing when it comes to, like, you know, gaming, movies, TV shows.
Exactly.
It's not a new thing. Kingdom Hearts, you know, the entire series itself has content removed.
Literally all the games have cut content. Like, I would say, like, if I had to pick out one game that I would describe as slightly egregious, I would say it was Kingdom Hearts 2, the original release of Kingdom Hearts 2, because while there was cut content, there was also content that's like, oh, why did you cut that? That's kind of important. And like, I mean, obviously it was because of the realities of development, but it was like kind of important stuff. So, for example, the Roxas battle was cut out of Kingdom Hearts 2 and saved for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. And
I mean,
like
even Nomura admitted that it was cut because of time.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't have the time to get it going. You can see there's concept art of the final boss. You know, there was a whole nother stage of that final boss fight that was cut. It's like this crazy huge, cool mecha that they decided not to do it. And was that boss fight, you know, was it less cool than it would have been? I mean, maybe, but like, was that boss fight like not the coolest thing ever? Like, it was still cool. Like,
it was
still an amazing final boss. So like, I would say, based on Kingdom Hearts, the Kingdom Hearts team's track record, or at least Nomura's directorial track record in terms of cut content, I feel very comfortable that Nomura won't let the best bits go. You know.
Yeah, he still knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants in the game. He knows what has to be cut, and
exactly.
You know, and if, like I said, you know, DLC is the way to go nowadays. You know, unfortunately, but you know, it'll probably come back in some shape or form in the future. So as long as the story feels complete, you know, we get a satisfying ending, and the way it's been told throughout the entire game. You know, I'm just like going to play like everybody else, and I'm going to enjoy my time with it.
The good news is that Kingdom Hearts is very modular, meaning, you know, there are many like very distinct chunks of Kingdom Hearts. Namely, they've got Disney worlds. Like, you could cut out an entire Disney world in pretty much any Kingdom Hearts game and write around any content that you would have missed, because it's a modular chunk of a story. It's a like self-contained story. So if you remove the entirety of a self-contained story out of the game, like a mini story out of the game, you can still make it work. Any knowledge or information that you would have gained that benefits the rest of the story, they can just place that in other Disney worlds. You know, if they have to get to a point where they're cutting a world, or if they're cutting, you know, something else that's modular, you know, anything that is necessary to tell the main story, they can just move that to another part of the story. You know, instead of getting one Ansem report in this world, you get two. Oh, there you go. You know, something like that. Like whatever was necessary from the original draft of what that world was, they'll just move it somewhere else. You know, it's not that big of a deal. So that's definitely a really good point, is the fact that even if it is true that they're going to be cutting massive content, or they didn't even say if it was like massive content. It's just that they were saying content was being removed so they could release in 2018. Even if that's true, that's not necessarily to state that it's going to be an incomplete experience. All the Kingdom Hearts games had cut content. All games have cut content.
Yeah, it's like, that's why there are, you know, data files, and that's why people data mine to see what they can find. That was cut. Yeah.
You know, especially in modern game development, you know, one of the chief paradigms these days is iterative design. So iterative means that design ideas go through many stages, many iterations. And, they'll try one idea. They'll see how it goes. They'll play test it. They'll do surveys within their own staff. They'll try it out. And if it's good, great. If it's not, they'll change it. And usually at each iteration, there are changes. And changes can mean additions, and they can also mean subtractions. And I can promise you that there's a lot of subtraction that has to go on, in game designs. Not all ideas come out of Nomura's brain fully formed. Sometimes you come up with your best ideas when you're staring at what is wrong with your previous idea. When you're looking at what wasn't working before, you realize, oh, wait, what if I tried this? So you cut the old stuff and you try something new. And the same thing happens in story writing. And, that's iterative design is just natural. So, I would say, going back to the validity or, maybe not validity, but the importance of this rumor, dealing with the importance of this rumor, the fact that it's purporting something has happened that happens in literally every other game means that this to me feels like, oh, he's just writing a rumor that sounds plausible because it's something that always happens. And if someone's, writes the most, one of these really safe rumors that, it's, they're vague and safe, so it's really hard to dispute them. It just feels to me like, you know what, you probably made it up. 'Cause, yeah, it'll probably come out someday that, hey, oh look, there was some cut content. And then you might come back one day and say, hey, look, I said there would be cut content in Kingdom Hearts. Well, it's like if you asked anyone when Final Fantasy 15 was in development, pretty much anyone would have told you, oh yeah, there's going to be cut content in Final Fantasy 15. Of course there's going to be cut content.
A lot of it.
Yeah, and there ended up being a lot of it. But if someone came out and said like, oh yeah, I heard there's going to be cut content in Final Fantasy 15, they could have easily made that up. And you know what? They would have turned out right. Yeah, because it's obvious. Of course there's going to be cut content. That game was huge. And you know what? Of course there's going to be cut content in Kingdom Hearts 3. This is their first PS4 full retail PS4 game. Of course there's going to be cut content. They're going to be learning things, and some things aren't going to work. So they're going to have to cut it. Like it's natural. So it's not surprising. And because of that, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
You guys are still going to buy the game, you're still going to play it, and you're still going to talk about it.
Now, I want to address the 2018 portion of this. This is the only part of it where it's a little less safe because he's picking a specific date. So, in terms of 2018, you know what? 2018 is not out of the question for Kingdom Hearts. It really isn't. Even though I personally believe it's going to come out in 2019, it isn't out of the question. Based on what we know about Kingdom Hearts releases generally are annual, and as far as we know, there isn't anything scheduled for 2018. So, of course, Kingdom Hearts 3 could very well release in 2018. But, that being said, it's not necessarily going to happen. I still feel like it needs more time in the oven. I don't know if the rumor stated, but he never really said when in 2018 it would release. And when it releases in 2018 is a big factor. So what we do know is that Kingdom Hearts 3 will probably not be releasing before March 2018, as we learned from last episode. We learned about the financial briefing, and the financial briefing said that in this upcoming fiscal year there will be no Kingdom Hearts 3. There is no Kingdom Hearts 3 in the upcoming fiscal year, and that ends March 2018. Now, if Kingdom Hearts releases in the fiscal year after, which ends March 2019, then yeah, it could release in 2018, but what if they need more time? What if they need more time and there's other games releasing, in the holiday season. Why wouldn't they move it? So I would personally feel like it's very possible that Kingdom Hearts might release in the next fiscal year, namely the one that starts in April of 2018 and ends March of 2019. And if it does release in that year, I am personally feeling that it will be more likely to release in the 2019 portion of that year, because I feel like they will need more time. And as far as like tax people and investors are concerned, I mean, as long as it releases in the fiscal year, they'll be happy. I'm sure they'd be happier if it released around Christmas, but like as long as it releases in the fiscal year, they can report on it in their financial earnings for that year. So I don't know.
And not only that, March has a big significance to the Kingdom Hearts series.
Exactly.
So
it's going to be the 16th anniversary. Is Sora 16 yet? Is that what this means?
It could be.
Yeah, he might be. Yeah.
But that's just a rumor.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's just rumor. Just rumor. Exactly. Oh man. So I thought it was a good idea that we should call this out. These types of rumors, because they're so safe, I personally feel they're problematic because they're so safe, they're hard to challenge, and because they are hard to challenge, they get propagated a lot, and hard to challenge at first glance. If you really look into it, it's kind of obvious. You look at the writing on the wall. It's May. We're in a news drought. It's almost E3. It's a super safe bet. Like, of course, it's just some guy guessing so he could post it on his website.
Which is why I always say these type of things are what I call a wait and see.
Exactly.
Because no matter what, we're going to have to wait and see anyways to see, if it's true or not. So, exactly. I mean, if it's true, cool. If it's not,
whatever.
Cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's the game's still going to come out. You're still going to play it and you're still going to buy it.
Exactly.
So that's why, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. It's same story every single year. Don't get too excited. Don't get your expectations so high up in the air. Exactly. Just let it come natural, and just once the news or trailer, whatever comes out of it, then you can react accordingly to it. Exactly. But right now, don't worry about it. Just wait till E3.
Go play a Zelda. Go play Persona 5.
Yeah, just enjoy your time. Just enjoy your time. E3 is gonna come no matter what.
Exactly.
So.
There's too many dang good games out right now. We ain't got time to be wasted on stupid rumors. Go play a good game. Anyway, so moving on to the question segment. Our first question comes from Mark Emanuel, and Mark asks, what are the possibilities of Kingdom Hearts 3 of a Kingdom Hearts 3 showing at E3 2017? Specifically, like, I guess showing Olympus Coliseum. Any thoughts?
No. It's the
at the E3
yeah.
E3
there's a thing called E3 Coliseum now where
that's Jeff Keighley's thing.
Yeah, it's a new thing that Jeff Keighley is presenting to have a little bit more of a little talk to like developers and stuff about their upcoming games. So it's kind of like Square Enix Presents, but on a grander scale.
Yeah, for any studio, they don't have to set their own up.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So what are the possibilities of Kingdom Hearts 3 showing up at E3 or the E3 Coliseum in 2017? Any thoughts of a new trailer or release date? Thank you. Sure, what do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, like I said, Nomura's been teasing the last few months, and we haven't had another trailer since December 2015.
Yep, and he said we were supposed to get one in December-ish until Final Fantasy 15 had a move of schedule.
Yep,
so
I think it's due time. I mean, even if it doesn't have to be a release date, it can just be a new trailer. I mean,
exactly.
Like you said, we all can live with a new trailer. We will love a new trailer. So, I think E3 Coliseum wise, I think why not? I mean, it is a good way to really get more information out of like Nomura if he's present.
Yeah.
on some of these things here, but honestly, it really depends on Nomura.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Nomura would probably be more comfortable with being on Square Enix Presents than probably E3 Coliseum.
I'd agree. Yeah, but
So,
yeah, we'll have to see. If I had
I mean,
to, yeah.
Jeff is still doing announcements. I mean, he recently announced that James Gunn, who directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, he was the first person to reveal to be on the E3 Coliseum. So he's still tweeting out that there will be more, announcements coming soon. So if you're on following him, follow him on Twitter, and you'll be able to see if he announces anything in regards to it. Because Square Enix is confirmed for the E3 Coliseum. So
yes,
just keep an eye out on his Twitter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because, like, right now, what do we know for sure Square Enix has?
Nothing.
Yeah,
really. I mean, if you want obvious,
is FF12 Zodiac Age out yet?
No, it's out in July. But
so that'll probably be there.
Well, as of right now, nothing's been announced for their E3 lineup, which won't be until probably at least another week or two. I think when we get into June, like right in the beginning of June.
Yeah,
they'll
reveal the public ones, like
the public ones, like Final Fantasy 12, episode Prompto, Final Fantasy 14 Stormblood. Those are like the main ones that they're that people have already called that are gonna definitely be there. But then you have surprises, so either a Sony conference, or maybe right when the doors open for E3, they'll start throwing out trailers left and right for us to watch.
As they always do.
Right around there.
So what I'm kind of feeling is, so they're going to have FF12, FF15 DLC. I'm going to guess for FF15, they'll probably have, like you said, episode Prompto. That's the big one. That's releasing in June.
Yeah.
By the way, and I think maybe they might show maybe a sneak peek for episode Ignis, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're having more DLC for Nier.
Yeah, that's another one. There was some rumors about FF15 might possibly having like DLC beyond Ignis. So I would guess if they were going to announce that, they might do that at E3. I would also say that might be the time to talk about PC for FF15.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of the big ones, Nomura's projects, namely, so Kingdom Hearts 3, FF7, I think both of those will have trailers. That's my guess, and I know that's a little bit ballsy. I know.
Well, Nomura did admit
I think they'll have
at when he visited the Monaco.
Yeah, he
wanted to release a trailer there, but
exactly.
They denied that request. So he wants to get something out.
I would say at least for Kingdom Hearts 3 specifically, he had plans to have some sort of trailer in December. So I would say at the very least, whatever trailer he had in his mind, the types of things he was intending to announce in December that he never did, I feel like that would be the kind of stuff that he will show at E3 for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I feel like there's a lot of real safe stuff he could show, namely stuff from Olympus Coliseum, because clearly that is, out of all the worlds, it's probably the most complete, because it does occur very, very, very early in the game. We'll just say that.
Well, not only that, it's the anniversary too, so I think Nomura would probably go for Kingdom Hearts 3 over 7.
And on top of that, they're having literally, 3 concerts? Three concerts in LA for Kingdom Hearts? Like, of course they're gonna do something for Kingdom Hearts. And if I had to guess, they'll probably show some Olympus Coliseum stuff. Now, beyond that, if I had one guess that might be a little bit, more of a bigger bet. My bigger bet would be that they also might throw in the release date, or not release date, release year. They might throw in release year. The only reason I say that is because I feel like right now, if they were to release a trailer that says now in production or work in progress at the end, I don't think people are going to be happy. It wouldn't be the first time Square's done that, of course, but I have a feeling like we might need a year.
But here's my thing though, like with the the rumor that when it's going around, people are getting awfully worried about something they knew already happening. So it's like if 2018 does flash across that screen,
they're gonna get scared. Oh my god, cut content.
Right. So it's like I'm guessing that half the community would be worried and the other half would be like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
So
I have a feeling like if they do flash 2018 across the screen, that 2018 does not mean early 2018. If they flash 2018 across that screen, that means winter 2018. It does not mean anything else because they are not ready to release that game. They're not ready for it, so it's going to take some time. So if it's going to release in 2018, it's going to be late so they can hit the Christmas time frame. And what might end up happening is, oops, we don't have enough time, and we kind of need some more time, so they'll take that extra time and throw it out in March 2019. So if 2018 goes across the screen, I'll be a little bit nervous because I don't feel like they can hit that, but we'll see.
For me, if I see it on screen personally, I'd be like, well, let's see how this unfolds.
Exactly. That's how that's how I felt when I saw September 30th for 15. I was like,
but then remember that rumor that happened that showed up on NeoGAF about the whole the Final Fantasy 15 standees that GameStop was getting, but they had the sticker to replace it. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And it became true, and then everybody's all freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about like at Uncovered when they announced the 30th date. I was like, ooh, like that's a good date. That's a good date. Like if Final Fantasy 15 was done and ready to go on that date, that would be great. But from what we were hearing about Final Fantasy 15, it was sounding very far away, like in terms of the level of polish that they were at around Uncover time did not sound great, and what we were hearing prior to E3 was sounding worse, and what we played at E3 that year was not great. The Titan demo was super buggy. I'm happy to say once the game finally released in November, it was fine. I didn't have any problems with Titan, but yeah, at E3 I was nervous, and I kind of feel like the same way if Kingdom Hearts got like kind of an early 2018 release. I think late 2018 I'd feel okay with late 2018, but I'd feel best with like early to mid 2019, but I don't think it'll go past next fiscal year. I think it's going to release next fiscal year. I don't think in their portfolio, I don't think they can afford to wait much longer because they need to make room for 7. So, and I would assume 7 would be coming shortly after. So
right,
we will see. So yeah, good question mark. Good question mark, Emmanuel. Moving on, Churro, if you could take this next one.
The next one is from Joseph Robertson, and he asks, if there were to be another defector from the original Organization 13 to join the side of light as a complete person, like Lee has done, who do you think it would be? Do you think any may not return or simply remain neutral in the battles to come? I would personally love to see what side Luxor ends up on.
So I think so in terms of who I'd want to see, I want to see Larxene. I just like Larxene.
Yeah, I like Larxene.
I just really like her.
I just want to see how she is before she became a nobody.
Yes, and please get the same voice actress. Please bring her back. She's so good. She's seriously one of my favorite voice actors in the Kingdom Hearts series. I just know her as Wendy's girl because I know she did the voice of Wendy for like a Wendy's commercial one time. Yeah. So please, Wendy's girl, if you're out there, please voice Larxene again. We miss you. I would also agree. Yeah, it would be really interesting to see where Luxord comes from and where he ends up.
Honestly, if they do show them, like, and because they're going to tell them what the original intention was.
Yeah.
So they're gonna know what Xehanort was planning, or Xemnas in their case was planning to do with their bodies. So I think that at some point they're all probably going to turn and help, maybe at some point when Sauron Company are down and out, and they come and turn the tide of the battle for them. So I think that's my opinion on it.
I would agree. I would feel that I would say most of them would probably feel like, what? Because most of them, it would probably be like brand new for them. They probably never heard of it. But
well, I mean, don't you remember in Kingdom Hearts 3D when they were looking through Ansem the Wise's office? You know how, Vixen and, I forgot his real name, Xexions? Mm-hmm. They're all helping him look through that entire, office, so it's like, obviously they probably were caught wind of.
None of them knew. But
none of them knew, but like they were following, Lee's,
so far the only ones we knew that knew were Zigbar, obviously Xemnas, and Syx. Those were the only ones we know had some sort of inclination, or at the very least, after turning, they're still cool. Because Syx is in, he's got no problems with it. So
well, it's either he's probably past in a state of mind, he's probably just influenced greatly. Like he probably has no control over what he's doing. So
that's another possibility. So far, he hasn't spoken. So and I'm sure that he chose to be in the new organization, or he willingly got in.
Well, you got to remember that extra scene they put in, 2.5, where Braig is talking to young Xehanort, and then when Braig says, at the end, he says, well, which one should it be? And then you can kind of get a hint of young Xehanort almost saying Syx or Isa before it cuts to, the reconnect, and it shows his body on the ground. And then when Lee wakes up, the only person missing from that group is Isa's.
Yep.
So basically, they probably did something to him.
Yep.
Very possible that he's not doing it on his own. Yep, and so not only that, Lee probably knows the situation because even though he showed up after the entire conversation, he was more likely been briefed about it anyways. So that's why he went to go train. So.
Yep. So we'll have to see how that opens up. But I would agree. There's definitely a lot. There's a lot of old Organization 13 members that just we didn't get that much about. Larkseen and Luxord, and
it was kind of disappointing because like the entire organization is called Organization 13, but it's like they were never really together. Beyond days. It's like they're only there for the meetings, and then from there they're always acted like two different groups. Then you had the coup that they were trying to build against Xemnas. So it's like everything was just
okay. That's the other one I want to see more of. Marluxia, bring him back.
Marluxia.
I mean, of course he's coming back. I mean, they've actually like kind of hinted at it. Like if you looked at the most recent trailer. There's some nobodies. They look awfully like Marluxia.
Right. And we even asked him. We asked him more about that, and he answered it too.
Yep. So we shall see.
We shall see.
That looks quite interesting. So and I'll take this next one. Tom Morales asks, what is the longest you are willing to wait for Kingdom Hearts 3?
The simple answer, as long as it takes. I have other games to play. I got other activities to do. I got work. I got things to pass the time. Kingdom Hearts 3 does not control my life. So it's like perfect. There are people who say, oh, I've been waiting 10 years for Kingdom Hearts 3, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? Go do something else. Don't worry about it. No matter how long you wait, you're still going to buy the game. You're still going to play it. You're still going to react to it.
Exactly.
No matter how long you said you waited or how long of a fan you are, it's the same story. I've heard the story a million times.
Yep. And I'm gonna say my answer is the same, but just one minor addition. As long as I'm still alive, until the day I die, I can wait. Well, until the day I die, minus the amount of time that it will take me to play and complete the game. So there you go.
It's gonna happen, Brandon. You're still gonna be alive.
Okay, I'll still be alive. So as long as I'm still alive and I can play it, I'll wait as long as I need to. There you go. So that's all I need. All right, and Churro, if you could take this last one.
This is from Postmodern Epoch. And they ask, do you think there's ever a chance for a Kingdom Hearts VR game? Kingdom Hearts has been on basically every platform known to man. So do you think VR is also inevitable?
That's a good question. So I think... So yes, it has been on every platform. And VR is a new, very interesting platform, but it's also VR's in a weird spot right now. It's very experimental, and it's also on the market, and that's what's weird.
And sometimes some of them can be expensive.
Yes, and it's expensive. So it's expensive. It's very experimental, yet it's already sold in stores, and that's weird. And because of that, it seems like a lot of big publishers are in a very much wait and see kind of mode with VR, and they're kind of worried that this is just going to be another one of those like 3D TV kind of things, even though in reality, in practical use, VR is a real new thing. It is a big deal. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with VR that you can't do anywhere else, and it is it is a game changer. That said, it's still very expensive, and the technology isn't quite up to snuff for what people want out of VR. And we're also still learning how to make games for VR, because much like with touch screens, like on tablets, there are certain kinds of games that you can make, and there's certain kinds of games that you really can't make. And more specifically, there are certain kinds of games that, well, basically, you can make any game, but there are certain games that if you do make them for VR, you will probably puke if you play them. Mm-hmm. And that is a big problem, is that this is like one of the first platforms that we have where it could potentially cause harm to the player, like literal physical harm to the player. Not pain, but maybe like maybe a headache, but like dizziness, nausea. People have fallen in VR. You can watch lots of great videos of people falling in VR. They're standing up and they're watching a VR roller coaster and they fall over because they think they're on the roller coaster. And this is a serious thing. So they have to consider, okay, what style of game is good for VR? What makes sense? What's not going to get people sick? And, these are very big considerations. And when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, at least traditionally, what we think of Kingdom Hearts is it's an action game, specifically a third-person action game. Whereas VR, generally, they are first-person games. We've never had a first-person Kingdom Hearts. And, that hasn't really been explored. So if I had to say, let's say hypothetically, there was one. And there was a VR Kingdom Hearts game. What aspect of Kingdom Hearts would fit best in VR? If I had to say, and I think this is actually a very interesting opportunity, is a gummy ship game where you are in the pilot seat and you are playing in first person, piloting a gummy ship, flying around, shooting things, in a space shooter type format. And, beyond that, if you want to have a story involved with that, just like you have with every other Kingdom Hearts game, that'd be great. And, maybe it's not a gummy ship game, maybe it's a Keyblade glider game, but you get the idea. That type of a game where you are in a seated position in some sort of a vehicle that you are controlling. So far, in terms of VR, that has proven to be an acceptable form of action, like an action game, because a lot of VR games these days are you're in a seated position and you're doing something on a desk, or you're in a seated position and you're in like, you know, some sort of chair, someone's strapped you in, or you're in a car, or you're at a table and there's a bomb in front of you, you got to disarm it. You know, you have to find a way that is similar, that similarly replicates what the actual player is doing. And what is the player doing? They're sitting in a chair probably, and they're wiggling a controller, you know. And I would say in terms of Kingdom Hearts, the only activity in Kingdom Hearts that I feel replicates that is the gummy ship. You know, the character's in a seated position and there's action going on.
You know what I would love?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know how like the CGI movies? Like,
yes.
I would love to have one, like a CGI movie with the VR. Like, for example, you do your Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key character.
Yep.
And you see it from like their perspective. Like, 'cause, for example, you're just standing there, you know, you're watching the movie unfold. All of a sudden, you look up. All of a sudden, it's like one of the foretellers are coming right down on you to strike you, like during like one of the cutscenes, like you experience. You know,
exactly.
I think that would be pretty cool in a sense.
I mean, you could also have like, you know, something similar to like back cover. Maybe you're in a maybe you're a test subject and you're sitting in a pod or something, and you're watching these scenes unfold over time of these foretellers or organization members or whoever, some mysterious dudes in cloaks, whatever. Kingdom Hearts always has this crap, and you know, you're hearing their conversations and you're seeing them acting, and they're right in front of you.
I mean, when VR was at San Diego Comic-Con, they had one with Pacific Rim, and basically it was, you know, you couldn't control anything. You just put on the headset and you're actually like inside the thing of you know, the Jaeger.
Yep.
And then you watch the scene unfold like how it was in the movie. So it's like,
that's cool.
You know, that's how VR was handled before like they started doing actual live demos with controllers.
Exactly.
So, you know, that would be pretty cool, because you know how like the cutscene in Kingdom Hearts 3D when Sora's talking to young Xehanort after he dives way too deep. Most of the stuff is like first person.
Yep.
Because you get the perspective of Sora just sitting on the beach right next to young Xehanort. Can you imagine watching that scene in VR?
Yeah, in first person. It could definitely be done, and I will just add, Unreal Engine 4 supports VR, supports it pretty well. Most VR experiences that you see these days were either made in Unity or in Unreal, because they support all the major VR headsets right out of the box. You know, your Samsung, your PSVR, your Oculus Rift, your HTC Vive, they're all supported out of the box. So, you know, if they wanted to, you know, support like PSVR, for example, they could do it pretty easily because it's built into their engine. They could do it. They could use all those assets that they have, all those pretty character models. They can do it. So yeah, I would definitely agree. So in terms of like storytelling, I'd agree. That's probably how storytelling would have to work. In terms of gameplay, yeah, the only thing that comes to mind is the gummy ship, because it's the only thing I can think of where you sit and do actiony stuff, because otherwise, like, I can't imagine what you would be doing as a character in first person that's, you know, maybe potentially actiony and not get horribly sick. One of the leading causes of simulation sickness in VR is when the character that you're playing does something with their body that you are not doing in the real world. So especially like walking or running, if you're like using the analog stick to walk or run, if it's too fast, it can seriously cause simulation sickness. But if you're, say, like you're playing a character who's sitting in a cockpit, like for example, there's that mech game Hawken, where you're piloting a mech, but you're seeing it from the perspective of sitting inside the mech, and you see the character's body inside. There's also that one big space game. It's not Star Citizen, it's the other one. Horizon? I don't know. Not Horizon Zero Dawn, but it's the other big space game that's really boring, that has ships in it. They do the same thing, where you're sitting in a cockpit of a starship and you're piloting it. So yeah, I feel like that's the safest bet. Because the other style of VR is there's a stand-up VR where you can walk around in a small enclosed area. I haven't seen that executed well with PSVR specifically. So far, the only thing that I've seen that has done that is HTC Vive.
Yeah, I've done a couple of demos at Comic-Con with those. Those are pretty interesting, but it's very limited. Yeah, especially when you can't see anything outside of the glass of the goggles or whatever, the headset.
And on top of that, you as a developer, you have a very big expectation about what the room setup is for the person at home. It's it was the same problem with the Kinect. The Kinect needed like a 6 foot by 6 foot area clear for people to use it properly, because the Kinect couldn't see too closely. You had to be kind of step back a little bit. It's the same thing with the HTC Vive. You need like a 10 foot by 10 foot area for the Vive to have what they call room scale VR, where it's the scale of your room and you can walk around. And assuming someone has a 10 foot by 10 foot area could be a big ask for a lot of people, especially if they live in an apartment. I can say personally, in Japan, the apartments are pretty tiny. Mine's fine because I live in middle of nowhere, but for the average Japanese person, which by the way, Square is a Japanese company. Average Japanese person is not going to have enough space for that kind of VR, so it would have to be a seated experience. So, Churro, I have a big question. Do you think this question? Do you think it will be inevitable that Kingdom Hearts will appear in VR someday?
It is inevitable. I mean, though I think.
But do you think it will happen with this generation of VR, like as we know it now?
No, because it's still a young, VR is still a new concept, for gamings. So basically, I think Nomura is more of a person who's willing to wait.
Yeah.
Because then you have Tabata, who just threw VR into Final Fantasy 15, it's kind of like throwing, darts at a board,
exactly.
See if it lands on.
That's a good point, because the Final Fantasy 15 they did a Final Fantasy 15 VR experience for E3, and so far that's it. It was just that experimental thing, and so far they haven't like really committed too much to VR.
And not only that, it's like it wasn't really well received either.
Yeah,
it wasn't that great.
It was definitely very experimental. Clearly, it was more of a proof of concept. Just some ideas that they were throwing out there of how VR could work. They had like Prompto teleporting around, shooting guns at a behemoth, and then Prompto sitting in the regalia, and you could like stare at Cindy's boobs or something. But like that's about it. So I mean, like I said, Nomura isn't really one to waste something like that on Kingdom Hearts. It's like if he wants to use it, then he's gonna have to really sit down and think about. If even Tabata, who really likes to experiment with Final Fantasy, if even he's holding back, because clearly they haven't like said like, hey, we're definitely gonna do a big VR game. If even he's holding back, then I would say that's like. Then of course Nomura is not going to be doing it anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he had like specifically with the 3DS.
Yeah,
with the whole 3D concept. He was, he actually enjoyed that concept. He sat down and saw it, and then he actually developed the drop system, then the dive system specifically with the 3D in mind.
Yep.
So Nomura is going to really have to sit down and look at it and go, what can I use for this and in the way of Kingdom Hearts. It's not going to be as simple as just, doing, putting something in the first person.
Yep.
He has to go above that,
If it's just like what we were describing, where you're just in first person and you're experiencing a story. If it's just that, I mean, things like that as of right now are treated more like a gimmick or just like a tech demo. Like, so far there hasn't really been like too many like full products that were released like that. So it would have to be, you know, something more than that. And so far, I don't think anyone's really cracked the code on what VR can do in terms of like a full retail product yet.
I mean, so far the only really VR game that I heard that got really, you know, received with VR is Resident Evil 7, because basically the entire game's in first person.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a perfect fit.
So it, you know, that's the only thing I can think of so far. But everything else, like, I haven't really seen. I mean, when you go to like Best Buy or GameStop and you look at the, you know, tiny little VR section they have, they're still not, you know, they're still little VR like mini games. You know, there really isn't a full on like video games that are being released with VR support. You know, besides Resident Evil 7.
Yep. And for Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 is not a VR game. It's a game that has a VR control option.
Yeah, they pretty much built the game, then they added then they add the VR to it.
Exactly. So yeah, good question. We'll have to see for the future. I would agree with you, Churro. I would say, is it inevitable? Yes, but not anytime soon.
Another point I want to bring up is kind of remember 3D movies, you know? It's kind of like that. It's like 3D movie, like when directors make a 3D movie, it's like sometimes the way the movie's presented can fit with it. Other times they just throw a slap 3D on it because they can.
Yep, exactly.
It's exactly with VR.
Yep. Good. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, so on to the music. So for the music for this episode, we have a very interesting cover. So I know we always have Dearly Beloved because everyone and their grandmother has done a cover of Dearly Beloved, but this is specifically a cover of Dearly Beloved from 358 Over 2 Days. I don't think we've had a cover of that yet.
I actually enjoy the Days version of Dearly Beloved. It seems so whimsical to me.
Yeah, very whimsical, melancholy. It fits it perfectly. So this is a live cover on cello, and I believe there's also some piano as well. Of Dearly Beloved from 358 Over 2. This comes from YouTuber Purple Shala, and it's also featuring Anime Vivi and Mad Kimchi Man. I guess he had some pretty spicy kimchi for him to be so mad. So definitely enjoy that. It's really good. All right, our next Kingdom Hearts Union is scheduled for the 6th of June. You can subscribe to Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts Union on the iTunes Store. Just search for Kingdom Hearts, and we're number 1.
Yes.
And, of course, you can catch every episode at KingdomHeartsUnion.com or
Kingdom Hearts Ultimania's Twitter, which is at KHUltimania, or UltimaWeapon.com's Twitter, which is UltimaWeaponCom.
And remember, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/FFKHUnion. And if you have any questions for the show, please send them to khuquestions@gmail.com. All right, Churro, it's goodbye time.
Already?
But you know what? Next episode, it's going to be our pre-E3 episode. Whoa!
Yay! We got all our speculations.
Finally,
and what
there might be some actual news. Maybe.
Yes. Well, I mean, the last year's E3, they kind of released the 2.8 trailer like a few days before.
Yeah.
E3. So
I have a feeling though, with us releasing on the 6th of June, maybe we might miss that.
Yeah, but I kind of doubt it.
We might be in a situation. Oh man, Churro, I hope this isn't the case, but it might be like the situation like we always have, where we record on like a Sunday or a Saturday, and then on that Monday they'll release something, and then we release our episode on Tuesday, and we look like idiots.
Right,
oh, but don't do that to us.
Well, no, I wait for something big. I think either at Sony's conference or the E3 Coliseum. You know, I think for something as big as Kingdom Hearts 3, I think they're gonna wait for the big stage.
Yeah. So I'm just prefacing this. Look, if we sound stupid because we released after a trailer came out early or something, It's not our fault, dang it. It's not our fault. We tried.
Never our fault.
It's never our fault. Okay. I just wanted to say that because it's always like this nagging thing on my head. It's like every time, pretty much every episode, I always think like, oh man, I just know it. You know, this is an episode. We have no news for this episode. I just know it on Monday. Nomura's gonna be like, all right, here's all the worlds for Kingdom Hearts 3. Ha 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 ha. Screw you, Kingdom Hearts Union. Ha ha.
You have to record another one.
You have to record it. Yeah, you're gonna have to record another one, or even worse, you're gonna have to talk about this like 2 weeks from now, after literally everyone already talked about it. Oh man, that is the real reality.
Hey, it was worse when we were doing these shows once a month.
Yeah. It definitely was worse in the past, where we'd be like a month late to news that came out like a day before our podcast released the last time. Like, man, those were some troubling times, man. Troubling times.
Definitely.
Anyway, all right, say your goodbyes.
Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and always thank you so much for your support.
Yep, and I'm Branden saying goodbye. This has been a KingdomHeartsUnion.com production.